Louth 4-8, Monaghan 123. Monaghan record a win at the start of the All-Ireland Senior Football Championship group stages. They have beat Louth in the end quite comfortably. A 6-point win is how it finishes. Big result for Monaghan in the end. Commiserations to Louth, who've obviously had a tremendous amount of success very recently. But it is Monaghan who win the game in Louth's not a home game as such. It was nominated to be in Newbridge because of the fact that Louth don't have a ground at the moment that can suffice the crowds that would have been at this game. Hence why Louth played it in Newbridge. But yeah, fair play to Monaghan for getting over the line in the end. The sharper, the better, the quicker team. You could tell maybe with the layoff, it suited Monaghan a bit more. I thought Louth were a little bit leggy at times. Louth did struggle to create chances. When they did create chances, especially at the start of the second half, they didn't take them. Samuel Roy with some uncharacteristic misses, you would say, from him in terms of 45. There was a 2-pointer opportunity that went wide. There was another one quite close in front of the goal that went wide as well. But look, to be fair, after his performance in the Leinster final, he still scores 2 goals today as well. I don't think I don't think Louth fans can be going and blaming him or anything like that for this defeat. You just kind of have to put your hat down and say Monaghan were absolutely brilliant today. They really, really were. They were by far the better side. They were right from the get-go. Obviously, a brilliant goal from Stephen O'Hanlon, who had a phenomenal game. Micheál Bannigan as well was absolutely brilliant. It must be said, Desi Ward had a fantastic game. And like the thing about this Monaghan side, and we've said this so many times down the years, is that they just don't go away. They don't go away. You think maybe when they had a couple of retirements a couple of years ago, they would go away. You would think when Banty leaves, they would go away. You would think last year when things went wrong and Conor McManus then retires, that maybe that might be it. Like I always fancied them to get promoted from Division 2 and have a strong championship, to be fair. But it will be very interesting to see how far they actually can go, because I do think that they'll win this group. I think this was probably their toughest game on paper. Be interesting to see obviously how things go against Down. Down beat them in the league, but again, Monaghan were already promoted at that stage, and they should be beaten Clare fairly handily. So, overall a very, very good performance by Monaghan and picking apart the game from start to finish. They were just, the intensity in their tackling was absolutely brilliant as well. Like Ryan O'Toole with some phenomenal blocks, one in the second half, a couple of big turnovers. And there was a few moments where Louth would have the ball in attacking areas and the swarm of Monaghan lads around some of the players. There was one moment in the second half in particular where Samuel Roy was almost ambushed on the ball. He 2-3 men around him, and he ends up over carrying it because he's absolutely nowhere to go. And I thought, the intensity of Monaghan's defence at times was absolutely brilliant, it must be said. In particular, the likes of Ryan Wiley, Ryan O'Toole, as I was saying previously. Dylan Byrne had a very good game as well. And Desi Ward, who you have to shout out, playing at centre back as well. But yeah, it was a brilliant performance from Monaghan and that kind of side of things. For Louth, it was similar maybe to the Leinster final in the first half. They got a couple of goals to keep themselves in, and Samuel Roy obviously gets a goal after a brilliant pass by Tommy Dernan, and then Tommy Dernan himself gets a goal as well. And like it just kept Louth within it. But between the 12th minute and the 29th minute, Louth don't score at all. Monaghan hit 6 points in that period. It was very, very dominant for Monaghan. And you always felt like Monaghan, if they put their foot on it a little bit more, they could absolutely run away with this. In fairness, though, like Ryan Burns with some fantastic 2-pointers, and he was a brilliant performer by Louth, and he's been, like one of Louth's best players this season. He was outstanding in the Leinster final, got himself obviously a big goal in that game, and he was brilliant in this game as well. And it felt like when Louth were kind of coming back into it, Monaghan would just keep chipping away with points. Stephen Mooney, very impressive as well. Desi Ward, very good as well, it must be said, as we were kind of saying previously. There was a moment in the second half with the penalty, obviously from Samuel Roy. I do think it was a penalty. In fairness, some people might say it was a bit soft, but it was a foul. It was inside the square. You got to give it as a penalty there. You felt like it was kind of mad because Louth had missed so many chances at the start of the second half in a kind of a dominant spell. As I was saying, like Samuel Roy missed a couple of other chances dropped short as well. I remember one from Darren McDonald, I think, that dropped short as well. And you were thinking, yeah, like you were thinking, right, you know, they got this penalty. Samuel Roy's got the goal. Like, fair play to Louth for how tough it's been for them. Maybe with the breeze and the wind as well, with conditions, and obviously conditions, you know, affect both teams, but they did seem to affect Louth a little bit more. And you're thinking, right, they're going to come back into this, but no, like Monaghan again kept chipping away. You know, a couple of brilliant 2-pointers from Micheál Bannigan, one from Rory Beggan as well, and look, Louth get the goal at the end from Tommy Durnan and the point from Samuel Roy. Who knows? Like that goal and points. I know in commentary they were kind of saying maybe he should have went for the goal, but like at the end of the day, it could be a scenario where, you know, Monaghan beat everyone in this group. Louth beat Clare, and maybe Louth and down. Maybe if it's a draw, like that puts Louth second. You know, depending on how the group goes. So who knows? Score difference could absolutely be important there. But yeah, Monaghan were very, very impressive in their performance, and it will be interesting to see just how far they can go in the All-Ireland this year, because if they win this group, they're going to avoid obviously the other group winners as well. They're going to be playing teams who have just played the week previous as well, which you know, can absolutely affect teams. So it's going to be interesting in that sense, no doubt about it. Liam White says here, Monaghan concerns 4 goals, which were avoidable. Louth concerns poor shooting with the wind in the second half. Yeah, and it's hard to know. Like, obviously I wasn't there in Newbridge, but like, did the wind pick up a little bit more in the second half? Because there was some poor misses there that, you know, you were kind of like looking at and thinking, how on earth have they missed those chances? But in the first half, Monaghan were brilliant with the wind, so it was kind of hard to know there. Ben says great win for us, but should be concerned conceding 4 goals. Absolutely, but you know what? Like, it is kind of Louth's tactic, though. It is what Louth do, and fair play to Ger Brennan, especially with so many teams now pushing out and defending the arc. Like, Ger Brennan and this Louth side have almost flipped it a little bit, where, you know, they know there's that space sort of, you know, just in front of the goal, and Louth have been brilliant at working goal chances. You know, they kicked 3 goals versus Meath, 4 in this game now as well. So look, there will be some concerns there, but at the same time, a lot of positives to take. Liam says Mulroy's pen should have kicked them on, but momentum suddenly shifted back to Monaghan. Yeah, and every time like Louth would turn the ball over, they would win kickouts and they would get into attacking spaces. They just couldn't make it count. And Monaghan were brilliant defensively as well. Like, so many times, you know, Ryan O'Toole will get blocks in and challenges there. And look, maybe we're conceding the 4 goals. That would be a concern, and everything else, and maybe defensively there could be some concerns there, but their intensity in their tackling, I think, was absolutely brilliant. And I don't think, you know, I don't think it's a fair reflection of 4 goals as well. Like, it wasn't like Louth had 4 goal chances in this game and scored all of them. Do you know that way? So I don't think it should be too much of a cause for concern. If it happens in the next game, then maybe, but we'll wait and see what happens there. Ben says, 3rd game I've missed this year. Such a shame. It was moved to Kildare, over 2 hours away, but hopefully not far to travel for the rest of the year. And Sam says, shocking that the Armagh v Derry game was not being shown by anyone. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I don't understand why they couldn't have shown the Armagh Derry game. I think a lot of people maybe would have preferred that to this game. Even the Meath Cork game I would have loved to have seen as well, to be fair. And it just feels like the GAA are just doing, you know, we have this conversation so many times, but, you know, you have Meath Cork on at 3 p.m. There's literally nothing else on. I mean, maybe there's a playoff final if you want to watch that, but, you know, for ourselves as GAA fans, we would absolutely have watched Meath versus Cork when nothing else is on. Yes, there's a few games on Clubber maybe, but yeah, it's a little bit disappointing. They need to kind of sort that out, in my opinion. You know, and Armagh Derry as well. Like, looking at it on Scorpio, looked like a cracking game. Looked like Armagh were running away with it. And then Derry kind of brought it back a little bit, maybe towards the end. But yeah, disappointing there. Liam says just more with the way it was going from right to left, and the Louth forwards didn't seem to grasp that from watching from home. Yeah, it's a fair point, and maybe Ryan Burns was the only one who did, because you saw his free at one stage and it like bent in. So yeah, maybe it's a fair point there. Alan says Louth were poor in the end. Up the dubs, absolutely, Alan. But yeah, look, it's not the end of the world for Louth. Look, they will be expected to get out of this group. The game versus Down will be the big one because it is two teams that I think are at a similar level, in my opinion, and it could really go either way. I'm actually not too sure where that game is. Maybe that might be the neutral venue game. You would expect them to beat Clare. They probably have to beat Clare by a big scoreline now as well because Down will have that score difference there as well. And it will be interesting to see in terms of how Monaghan get on in these next two group games as well. Will they win them comfortably? Can Down do anything in that game? You wouldn't expect Clare to really do anything in this group if we're being honest. And look, with Louth, I kind of said it in the preview and everything else, having won the Leinster title 2 weeks ago, which would have felt like almost winning an All-Ireland, there was bound to be a lack of intensity, maybe a little bit more lack of sharpness within this Louth side. Undoubtedly, there would have been celebrations that would have lasted a good couple of days. And maybe that was reflective in the game a little bit where Louth did tire a bit more and Monaghan did look sharper. But as I said, it's, the great things about these groups is 3 teams do go through. So it's absolutely not the end of the world for Louth. Yeah, man of the match is an interesting one. I suppose Micheál Bannigan, look, you can't look past him. He was brilliant today from a Monaghan perspective here, just looking at how much he scored. 6 points, outstanding. Stephen O'Hanlon was very, very good as well with 1-3. Rory Began stood up when he needed to as well. I think Louth's best performers were between Tommy Durnan and Ryan Burns. Tommy Durnan with 2 goals, set one up as well. And obviously Ryan Burns was outstanding with 5 points, 2 brilliant 2-pointers in the first half. But I would go with Micheál Bannigan there as the man of the match. So yeah, do let us know your thoughts, your opinions in the comments down below. We'll be back after the Donegal versus Tyrone game as well. So make sure to tune in for the reaction for that. And congratulations for Armagh fans and Meath fans as well. Obviously, we didn't get to see any of those games, unfortunately. So for anyone who were at those games, feel free to let us know your thoughts on those matches as well. Undoubtedly, some big wins for those counties. So cheers, anyone who tuned in. Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll speak to you all later.